Chris, both of these teams are looking to start and strong in Big 12 play, and it's going to be a massive key for Texas Tech to be able to deal with the elements that are going to come when going against a hostile environment in Rice-Eccles Stadium. This, to me, is where it gets interesting. We talked a little bit on the last episode about this group having not played a true road game. To now be playing a true road game at altitude where it's going to be noisy and loud, especially on your offensive line, for me, if I'm a Texas Tech fan, that is a concern. How do you feel like that group is ready? And it's not NFL caliber yet for John Henry Daly, but he is a guy. He has 5 sacks. He's been really productive off the edge. And this Utah team does have some strong defensive line talent. How are you feeling about the matchup in the trenches for Tech?
And he transferred from BYU?
Yes, he did. And our other guy did too, Logan Fotto.
This is wild to me. Like, everybody hates each other with this deal. and like, arguably the greatest coach in Utah history, Kyle Whittingham, yes?
Yep.
BYU grad.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the whole thing is so fascinating to me, because this is all new for those of us in Texas. We're used to, I could tell you a lot about TCU and Baylor and some of these private school snotty people and all that stuff. But the whole BYU and Utah thing is fascinating to me. I think that at face value, we can get into matchups and everything like that. But at face value, I think it will be difficult to run the ball if you're Texas Tech against this Utah defense.
Mm-hmm.
But because I think typically Morgan Scalley plays a lot of man coverage. Okay.
Mm-hmm. He does.
Yeah, right. And that's where I would say I really would like the matchups that Texas Tech has on the outside. And Caleb Douglas and Reggie Virgil. Reggie Virgil is one of the top receiver portal. I mean, Oklahoma and Florida State were very frustrated that they didn't add him in the portal back in December. Caleb Douglas, I think, was the second leading receiver in the conference of returning players last year behind Jordan Tyson, and we all know who that is. Coy Aiken had a 100-yard game last week, but then they also added Terrence Carter, who was one of the top tight end portal candidates, and he's been just this freakish, weird mismatch. He's like 6'2", shorter than most tight ends, but he's 250 and very fast, very athletic. And so I'm fascinated. Can Utah cover everybody? Nobody else has been able to, but that's because not everybody's been very good that you've played. And most of these guys haven't even played into the second half or but a couple of series in the third quarter. So that's where it comes down to me is I don't know if you'll be able to run it with much success. I do think that you will be able to hold up and let your quarterback play some pitch and catch, but this is where Behren Morton has to be good.
Mm-hmm.
You asked this, aloud, and one of the earlier things we were talking about is he good enough to go lead you to a conference championship? And this is a game where he needs to be really good, or he needs to be a plus. And now's the time. And if not now, then when? And it's not like this game is the end all be all, but he's going to have to play well. And that may be by design. That may be like, we like these matchups, and so we're going to put it in our quarterback's hands, and we're going to trust that he can deliver it, and we can win one-on-one matchups on the outside or down the seam or whatever it is, because we just don't know if we want to beat our head against the wall trying to run the football. I don't know. So that's where I'm curious. And I don't – he's this is one of the best defenses in the last 4 or 5 years, especially so at home. I think I'll throw this number out at you, that I think that in the last 4 years, I think Coach Scalley's defenses are averaging giving up 15 points a game, which is top 5 in the country, again, with games in Salt Lake. So that's why, like, our points going to be at a premium. I mean, I just don't know really what to expect here. And I don't know if this version of the Ute defense, is it as good as it was last year, which was really good. Is it as good last year? And where are the holes? Or I don't know. I guess you tell me.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn because on coming into this year, they lost so many veterans. They had key starters, like 4 of them that were part of like both Pac-12 title teams, even like that one, the ones in 21, 22, right? All the COVID year stuff. Those guys got to stay around a little longer. So there was a lot of turnover on this roster. So I've said, hey, you lose veterans, you're going to take a step back. Well, so far, so good. Haven't played anyone, but when you haven't played anyone, you want to blow them out. I mean, you give up only 10 points at UCLA. You held Cal Poly to 9, Wyoming to 6, right? Like this Utah team, the 6 was a garbage time touchdown late. This Utah defense has looked the part so far. But as we've also said frequently, you haven't really played anyone. This is such a massive leap up of an offense that it's going to be really fascinating to see. I've really liked what John Henry Daly has shown. He really didn't do much at all last year, but now he's had an offseason to grow and develop, and he looks like a really strong pass rusher off the edge. I think he's a guy who NFL scouts are not there to see John Henry Daly, but he could surprise them. Not a first-round pick, but a mid-round pick guy that he's been really productive. Utah's defensive tackles, they lost their top 3 D tackles from a year ago, and they've already had an injury at that position as well, too. So how is that defensive tackle room going to hold up on the interior? Who else can get pressure? Really like the linebackers that Utah's. Lander Barton, Jonathan Hall, Leavani Demooney, all some veterans that have been able to produce a lot for this Utah team. Secondary, retooled pretty well. Did have a season-ending injury at a safety spot, but that safety, Rabbit Evans, had missed a couple other games as well, too. So secondary has looked really good and strong. We talked about Smith Snowden on offense yesterday. I think he's one of the best corners in the Big 12 Conference, too, and Elijah Davis does a good job on the outside as well. So I do think this Utah defense is good, Chris, but it is so fascinating. Yesterday, we talk about how Utah's offense wants to be in third down and short situations. I think Texas Tech's going to be comfortable and not comfortable, but they're okay if they're third and long because they're going to trust and like the talent they have on the outside. And I can't wait to see who's going to win those matchups, because even if Utah plays good coverage, I saw Morton had one throw down the sideline for a touchdown last week. It was great coverage by the Beavers, but there's nothing you can do when that throw is on the money.
Yeah, and that's, and I think that Joey McGuire has shown he's not as crazy as like Dave Aranda is with this, because like what Baylor's doing on 4th down attempts is just I don't know if it's insanity or he's just way ahead of the curve. But I think that, sometimes and Texas Tech will come into this game as an underdog, and that factors into their analytics and the way that they approach the game. They may be more aggressive on 4th downs as well, because if they like those, it's just you got to win one-on-one matchups. And if you trust your quarterback and he's got to put the ball up there for, because these receivers, like Reggie Virgil and Caleb Douglas, they're 6'3", 6'4", Coy Aiken 6'3", and obviously John Carlos Miller is about 6'5", and Terrence Carter, the tight end, and we mentioned he's not as tall as your typical tight end, but he's fascinating to me because if you put a linebacker on him, which is typically what some teams do, he's just so much faster. And so I don't know. I am curious internally in that I wonder what they have held on to and what they haven't shown, because most of these guys haven't played, like I said, into the second half in any of these 3 games. Your offensive line hasn't played into the second half in a lot of these games. And there's some, as you and I touched on, there's been some tinkering going on there with the offensive line. It's set, but not quite set. And can they hold up? Can they move people? I've often asked this aloud. Can Texas Tech run the ball when they want to? And when the opposition knows we know what's coming, we're going to try to stop it. Last year, the answer was yes. This year, I just don't know. And that's one of the you mentioned injuries. That one of the key additions to this portal class was a USC running back, Quentin Joyner, who I think was going to be the kind of the do-it-all guy, 5'10", about 215. I saw him enough in August. It's like, oh, yeah, this is going to be really good. And in the second scrimmage, he ended up hurting his ACL. So your running back room, it looks a little bit different now. And it's I don't want to say like a weakness, but is it a question mark? Yeah. I mean, I think especially in games like this, you've got talent there, but it's just, depth and proven experience, no. So talent, yes, but proven experience, no. So anyway, this is interesting. I think for Texas Tech to win this game, Behren Morton will have to have a good to to a really big day. I just don't know if I know how to define that just yet on what it will take. What do you got to score? 24? Is that enough? You got to score 27. You got to score 31. You got to score 28. I mean, you got to score 40. I mean, I don't know what it's going to take here, but I think a lot will be on the quarterback for Texas Tech that day.
I agree. And Utah does as well. And they're going to try to throw a lot of bodies at him as well, the blitz game. I can promise you that. But first, today's crossover show is brought to you by our great friends at Mazda. With Mazda, they craft cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS top safety pick awards than anyone else as of August 2025. You can make every driver you can genuinely make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. And also with the all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. So, like our players, we sweat every detail at Mazda because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved when you head over and look at Mazda's inventory today. Thank you guys for listening to Locked On Utes and Locked On Texas Tech. That's going to do it for our shows today, but we're still coming at you. We've got a full week of game prep to keep it rolling. Chris, it'll be a lot of fun there. Thanks again for coming on.
Hey, keep hope alive, man. Appreciate it.
That's going to do it for our show. We'll see you tomorrow.